What's up, you guys? My name is Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet. And today is Friday, which means that I do a weekly vlog called So Your ... And hopefully you guys know the drill by now. If you have a suggestion for next week's video, just type So Your ... in the comments, and then leave an interesting topic following that. And if it's something that I have experience with or I find interesting or entertaining, I will talk about it. But if it's something that I don't have any experience with, then I'm not going to discuss it because that would be stupid. The weekend is upon us, which means new movies hit theaters. Taken 2 is coming out this week. No interest in seeing that movie. Looper, however, came out last week, and if you haven't already seen it, you should go see it this weekend because it's really incredible. Blew my mind. I was expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Also, the new Mumford & Sons album came out this last week, I believe, and it is astoundingly good. Like one of those. I heard a complaint that it sounds like one big long song, or it sounds too similar to their first album. I don't see what the issue is, because if it's one long song, it's one long, awesome, jizz-inducing song. It's a great album. You should check it out. And if you're watching this and you haven't already watched the Hailer, if you haven't already watched the Hailer, if you haven't already watched the Halo Forward Until Dawn live-action series, the premiere started today, and it lived up to the expectations that I knew it was going to be good, again, like Looper, but it was really good. So I will link to that in the description below. Now, before we start the vlog, I want to address a private message that I got in my inbox the other day, and I'm not going to include the guy's name because I don't know if he wants it to be public, but I'll put it right up here. And he said something along the lines of, it's dangerous to present a watered-down explanation of what existentialism is. And the rest of the message is polite. It's totally constructive criticism, which I'm all about. Rad, right on. But I want to say that in regards to the existential crisis video and any videos that I do, any of these vlogs that I do where I'm talking about sort of heavier topics and my experience with them, I kind of purposefully give a watered down explanation of my approach to these things because number one, I'd like it to be accessible to multiple people, and number two, I don't really do deep dives into these things because I think it's important for people to deep dive on their own. So if someone has questions about existentialism or social awkwardness or romance problems, then I think that people should explore research on those topics on their own. I think what I like to do around these parts with these videos is just to put a message out there to anybody who's struggling with one particular thing, that they're not the only person that struggles with this thing, and hopefully that sparks something in them to take some initiative and start exploring their own avenues of remedying whatever predicament they find themselves in. If I just told you exactly what I think you should do, I don't think that would be genuine because I don't know everybody watching these videos and everybody's situation is different. And that's my disclaimer. I'm not a therapist, and I don't plan on doing incredibly elaborate deep dives on these topics. And hopefully you guys are enjoying them so far. Alright, this week's topic comes from Super Nintendo Fan, and he says, so you're spending too much time alone, which is a topic that I can tell you volumes about. But I'm going to try and keep this concise because it's a YouTube video. And people just generally don't like 15-minute long videos. So you're isolating might be a better way to phrase this, but I think I'm going to title it So You're Lonely, because that's nice and broad. And I feel like this question can be applied to many, many different situations. I can tell you from my experience that I have a personality type that when I'm struggling with anything, when I'm going through a tough time, I have a hard time reaching out to people, and I withdraw, and I don't know if it's genetics, but it seems like almost everybody in my family does that too. When I was younger, I saw social situations as an opportunity to prove to people that I was a likable person, and that got me into trouble after a while because I don't think you can really enjoy yourself or enjoy people's company when you're really fixated on trying to put this message out to the world that you're this one particular type of person, or when you have something to prove. And after some years of doing that through high school and then a little bit right after high school, I became much more introverted in my 20s, and that brought up some challenges for me because all of a sudden I found myself spending a lot more time alone, and I wasn't used to that. And how you fill that time constructively is is up to you. And if you don't, if all you're doing is just like, for example, laying in your bed or sitting at a computer screen all day, or if you're not productive and doing something fulfilling with your time, it doesn't matter if you're introverted or extroverted, you're going to have a bad time. But when you're introverted, you can get really lonely really quick. What I'm talking about right now is sort of this roundabout way of saying that, like last week's topic of fapping too much, what's spending too much time alone for some people is not the same for other people. I can spend a great deal of my day by myself and be totally fine. But some people go absolutely nuts if they're by themselves for more than an hour, and everybody's threshold is different. So keep that in mind. There's very few absolutes in this world, and there's very few truths and situations that apply to everybody the same way. But I suspect if you're writing a message like, so you're spending too much time alone, you might be an introverted person and you haven't quite figured out how to thrive in that sort of situation just yet. I had a friend that I reached out to, I don't know, I was maybe 23, 24 years old, and I was reaching this point where I was like holidays, like New Year's and Halloween and things like that, where I looked around and I saw, it seemed like all my friends setting up and organizing and going to parties and get-togethers, and I didn't have the same drive to do the same thing. I felt like there was some deficiency in me. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? I don't know why I don't get the same out of these kind of situations as I see other people. And for the longest time, I felt self-conscious, like, there must be something wrong with me. I mean, I can keep trying to force myself to be this social butterfly, but it just doesn't really work like that for me. But I had this friend, and I called him up and I said, hey man, is there something wrong with me? Like, I really wish that I was more outgoing, and I really wish that I could participate in other people's lives more, because I see it happen all around me, and it makes me feel like there's something wrong with me. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, maybe you're just not that guy, and that's fine. And he said some other stuff too, but that was pretty much the point of what he was saying, was that maybe you're just not an extroverted person. Maybe you need to figure out a way to make being introverted work for you. And what worked for me was being creative. When I do creative stuff like editing and making a video where I feel like there's something that I have something to say and I'm excited to share that, then that sort of thing keeps me going, and I enjoy it. So finding an outlet is extremely important if you're more withdrawn than the average person. At the same time, it is important to be social. It is important to have relationships. I had another friend tell me one time, he gave me this example of how human beings are innately social creatures, and we do better and we thrive more when we work together. And he used this example of an ant farm. If you put one ant in an ant farm and just kind of let it do its thing, it just sort of walks around confused. It doesn't really know what to do. But the second that you put 30 ants in there, 40 ants, 50, 300, they just start doing shit. They don't even know why they're doing it, but they just start doing shit, and they create tunnels and whatever the hell else ants do. I have no idea what they do, but they dig around and find shit and eat. I don't know. But when you put them all together, they accomplish stuff. And I think human beings are the same way. I think that over time, people start to figure it out more and more. And if you're really, really having a tough time, like I'm shy, I'm reserved, but I'm not agoraphobic. I don't have social anxiety and things like that. And I can go out and be in a social situation and feel fine. I just don't have a whole lot to say a lot of the times. But if you're watching this and you do experience intense anxiety and fear about going outside, being around people, then that's something that you might want to get some couch time about. And I don't think therapy is I don't think it's a sign of weakness whatsoever. I regularly see a therapist because, like, my mind was just blown the last 3 years, and my life changed so much, and I get a lot out of just sitting down and talking with my therapizer. Once a week, I just shoot the shit and bounce some stuff off of her, and she throws some awesome feedback my way, and I feel better afterwards. And I think that's about all I have to say on the topic, guys. Finding an outlet and working with other people and making the effort to be social, even when you don't want to, will pay off in the long run, because while I do value my time and my space, I get stir crazy if I don't socially engage enough. It just makes me kind of nuts, and I'm pretty good these days about staving that off before it gets to a point where I'm like, fuck man, I haven't hung out or talked to a friend in a few days. So I like to be proactive about making sure that I have people in my life, and I'm inviting them out for a cup of coffee, or playing cards, or going to the movies, or just sitting down and shooting the shit for a couple hours. So yeah, I don't know if that helped anybody. I think I had a point in that, maybe, hopefully. But that's my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next Friday, and have a great weekend. Be safe. All right, bye. Because it can be horrifying, and I cannot imagine being 16 or 17 years old and stumbling on YouTube and making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars doing this whole thing before I ever had an actual job, before I ever was on my own.